scenes you're about to see are based on personal interviews of people who were willing to tell true stories. All of the people interviewed knew that their stories would be used in a play. While the scenes were written with creative liberties, some of the actual dialogue of their conversations is used. I did not use any names out of respect for confidentiality. Without further ado, I present Based on a True Story. Scene 1. It's too early for this.
So I can tell you any story I want to. Doesn't matter if it's funny or sad. I'm sure my story will be very stupid.
You can tell me whatever story you want to. I also doubt it will be stupid.
Are you writing this all down right now?
Yeah.
You're not even looking at the keys.
I'm able to type without watching my hands.
Wow. Alright, are you ready?
Whenever you want to begin.
So, have your parents ever given you the talk?
There are many different types of talks. Which conversation are you referring to?
Talk about sex.
Yes, my parents had that talk with me. I think they were comfortable speaking with me on it because in their minds I will forever be under 10 years old.
Well, my dad had that talk with me and it was a pretty funny story.
Alright, I'd love to hear it.
So, when I was 15, I'd been dating my girlfriend for a while, I think about a year. The night before we had stayed up late to watch a movie. After about a half an hour we started making out on the couch. Real classy, right? My dad stumbled downstairs because he wanted a drink of water.
Good evening.
Hi.
It's a little late. Don't you two think you should be calling it a night?
You know, I am kind of tired. Would you walk me home?
I'll do it. I can drive you. That way I know you make it home safe.
Okay.
It was the most awkward moment. It felt like it went on forever and I just wanted to crawl into a hole. But what was even worse was the next day. I just rolled out of bed and came downstairs to make a cup of coffee. My dad was sitting there, waiting for me. He wasn't reading the newspaper and the television was off, which is a morning thing for my dad. He was just sitting there with his hands pressed together.
Son, I'm glad you're up. Have a seat.
Actually, Dad, I'm still a little tired. I think I'm going to go back to bed.
I think you should take a seat. I mean, it's been a while since we've talked, and I really think we should.
Really, Dad, I'm not feeling well.
Son, I really think you should take a seat. Son, I want you to be completely honest with me. I really feel like we should have talked about this before. I know you and your girlfriend are close, and there are just a few things I want to address with you.
Okay.
Son, are you having sexual relations with your girlfriend?
What?
Sexual relations! Let me be more clear. Sex, intercourse, banging, doing the nasty!
Dad!
It's just a question. I won't be mad.
He seriously said I won't be mad.
No!
Well, then I must ask, do you want to?
Did you?
Well, that is not an appropriate question.
None of this conversation is appropriate.
I just wanted to talk with you. I know we haven't had this conversation before, and, well, you've been dating your girlfriend for a while now, and, well, when I was your age, I wasn't just taking my girlfriend to Lookout Point to talk.
Ew! Dad, 1, I have not had sex with my girlfriend. 2, I'm very appreciative of your concern. And 3, it's way too early to be having this conversation. I haven't even had my coffee yet.
You're right. You're right. I started this off all wrong. Let me go grab a cup of coffee and then we can start over.
Dad, no!
No, it's okay. We can fix this. When I get back, I'll answer any question you might have.
Ran out of the room as soon as he went into the kitchen. I had to work on my evasive maneuvers for weeks until he finally gave up. But every time my girlfriend was over after that, he would make it abundantly clear he was coming towards the perimeter, and he would whistle, stomp his feet on the stairs, or talk loudly. One time, he even said this.
Oh, that's okay, honey. I'm just gonna go see if the kids want anything to eat. Unless, of course, they are otherwise engaged.
Needless to say, my girlfriend and I did not last much longer after that.
Scene 2, the story of us. Thank you for letting me interview you. I'm asking everyone to just tell me a story. It can be any story, whatever you want to talk about.
Let me show you a picture of my husband. Doesn't he look sharp?
He is very handsome.
Do you have a boyfriend, dear?
Yes, I do.
How long have you and your fellow been together?
About a year.
I was with my husband for 52 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
He was my best friend and the love of my life right up to the day he died. I was 21 when I married him. I miss him a lot.
I'm sorry for your loss.
You know, no one says that to me anymore. They said it a lot when he died, but it's been a couple years. I cannot tell you how nice it is to hear. You're a very sweet girl. Anyway, you wanted to hear a story.
If you're willing to share one.
Honey, when you get to be as old as I am, you have enough stories to fill a book. I love telling stories. I tell them to my grandkids all the time, but I'm going to tell you my favorite story. I'm going to tell you the story of how I met my husband. I haven't been able to tell it to anyone in a while, and it's a good one.
Sounds good to me.
My family had just moved to Bowling Green. I was 18, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I graduated from high school, but I didn't know what to study in college. It was a different time. There was so much going on, and school seemed to be the last thing on my mind. I just started working in an office as a receptionist, and every day I would go to lunch at a place down the street from where I worked. Just a few minutes walk, I'd walk there and be back before my lunch hour was up. My husband was one of the cooks in the back, and honey, did he have a crush on me. He said the first time that I walked into that place, he felt like he'd been hit by a locomotive. It took him 3 weeks of me coming in before he would even speak to me. 3 weeks! I'd seen him in the back walking around. I also noticed he started cleaning the tables 3 or 4 times over. But after 3 weeks, he finally decided to talk to me.
Hi.
Hi.
BLT?
I'm sorry?
I know you like those the best. You order them the most often here. Anyways, I figured if you'd like one, I can make it for you. I'm the best cook here.
Are you now? So you're the reason I keep coming back. Okay, that'd be great.
Great, it's on me. It'll just take a moment to make.
I thought he was so cute. And honey, his smile was to die for. He ran back there so fast, I thought he was going to walk straight out of the restaurant and keep going with all the energy he had. But he didn't always think ahead. You see, the restaurant kitchen area had a big window where they put the food when it was ready. He didn't know I could hear him in the back.
What are you doing in the kitchen? Isn't it your day off?
Yeah, I just wanted to make some food. But you hate BLTs. You always gag when you have to make one.
I'm making it for her. I think she's really special. She's absolutely beautiful. I want to ask her out on a date someday, and I'm just trying to impress her. Is that such a bad thing?
Boy, you know she can hear every word you're saying right now.
I didn't think that far ahead.
So we spent time together every time I came in. He'd hold his brakes just for me. I got to know him very well, but he still hadn't asked me out on a date. I was getting frustrated. I thought I was doing something wrong. I'm sorry if this is forward, but when we first met, you said you wanted to ask me out on a date.
Yes, I did.
Oh. Well, that's fine. I can stop coming in and bothering you.
No. It's just, well, I'm old-fashioned.
Turn Turns out he just wanted to ask my father for permission first. He walked right up to that door, and he sat there with my father for 45 minutes telling him all about himself. My father was so impressed, he gave him his permission, a handshake, and a slap on the back. My father hated everyone. He loved my husband. He picked me up with flowers.
Wow, you look beautiful.
Thank you. That night, we walked around town, we talked, we laughed, and we got to know a lot about each other. He proposed to me 2 years later, and we were married a year after that. After that first date, we never spent a day apart until the day he died 3 years ago. I miss him a lot. Thank you.
For what?
For asking me to tell you a story. I got to tell someone about my sweet husband. It's been too long. It felt really good talking about him.
Scene 3. The musical soundtrack of your life.
I'm really sorry, I can't think of any stories.
Well, how about if I ask you questions and then you can answer them?
That sounds dumb.
Okay. Do you like music?
And that's a very silly question.
Fair enough. Okay, how about this? I will fire you some questions. If you feel comfortable, answer them, and then tell me what song reminds you of the situation. I have a whole laptop filled if you want to reference it. If you don't want to, then that's fine.
No, it's alright, I'll give it a shot.
Okay. When was your first kiss?
My first real kiss was when I was 13. It was at one of those school dances that the 7th and 8th graders put on to make the middle schoolers feel a little older than they actually are. Anyways, I'd been dating my girlfriend for a whole month. There was some random boy band playing in the background. I think the song was about God.
I'm sorry.
The boy band song.
Let me Google it. God must have spent a little more time on you by NSYNC.
That's the one.
There we go.
Anyways, I looked at her and I said, can I kiss you? And she said,
Okay, I guess.
so the kiss was over really quick and the song wasn't finished yet, so we just both kept avoiding eye contact so we wouldn't blush. It was really embarrassing. Next question.
Describe your best friend.
My best friend is a video game playing, adrenaline junkie, horror movie obsessed man who can't stand it if everyone is quiet, makes a fool out of himself at every opportunity, and tries to get a laugh at every chance he gets. This one time, when we were all still living in the dorms, he really wanted to play Truth or Dare. Now, mind you, we were sober for some reason, but he didn't really want to play it. He kept saying,
Truth or dare? Come on, truth or dare. It'll be fun.
Finally, this one girl was getting really tired of him, so she said,
Truth or dare?
Dare?
I dare you to strip naked and run around this entire dorm room screaming, I'm psychotic!
My best friend never backs down from a challenge. The entire room was quiet and stared at him. Some people even started to whisper because he wasn't saying anything.
All right. But if I make it back from this, you all owe me a game of Truth or Dare. Along Z! I'm psychotic! I'm psychotic! I'm psychotic! I'm psychotic! I'm psychotic! I'm psychotic!
What song would you pick for your friend?
The Doctor Who theme song. My best friend would be the madman in the blue box saying he could travel through time.
Okay, last question. If you could travel back in time and tell your old self one thing and one thing only, what would it be?
I would tell him not to worry so much. I used to worry about everything all the time. The littlest thing could set me off. I would just go up to myself and say, this is not a big deal. You're going to make it through this, and it isn't the end of the world. And you need to stop worrying about things so much. They make you who you are today.
And what song would you pick for this?
What other song could I pick than Let It Be by the Beatles?
Awesome. Thanks.
If I think of a story, I'll let you know.
You already told a pretty good one.
Yeah, I guess I did.
Scene 4. Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society.
Alright, I got a good one for you. Do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah, actually.
Okay, then this is a good one for you. Have you ever gone ghost hunting before?
Yes, I have. Multiple times.
Okay. So my friend and I have been wanting to go ghost hunting for a while. Neither one of us really believes in them. We just had heard about spooky shit that happens. But we also were watching some type of ghost hunting show with that creepy woman from The Exorcist.
Linda Blair.
I don't know her name, I just know she's the girl that puked all over the place. Anyway, we were watching this TV show and my friend turns to me and she says,
We should go ghost hunting.
"Where?"
This haunted farm on the other side of town, you're supposed to drive up, honk your horn 3 times, say a prayer to the spirits, and then knock on the door. After that, you see weird shit, you hear noises from inside, like screaming, and if you stand there long enough, the door opens.
So after a little convincing, my friend and I went out to wake the dead. We had been there for 10 minutes. We honked the horn 3 times, said a prayer to the spirits, knocked on the door. Nothing. We were just sitting there at this creepy old farmhouse waiting for something to happen. I was getting a little frustrated. Why are we still here?
Because I heard the song. And it's gonna be fun. Come on, it's even a dark and stormy night.
It's true. It was rainy, and that did make it all the creepier. Okay, whatever, but we're not staying out here all night.
Okay, fine.
So we continued to sit there. Just sit there, in the dark. My friend was all into it. She was looking around at the slightest noise. This is stupid. Let's go watch a movie or something.
Oh, come on, 1 more minute?
No! This is stupid! We drove all the way out here for you, and we have not seen anything. We haven't heard anything. There are no ghosts anywhere! Come out, wherever you are! Ghosties! I'm calling you out! Come on, this is dumb.
Did you hear that?
Yeah? Is there something inside?
You're just trying to scare me.
No, seriously, I hear something inside!
Get off my property! Get off my property! You see the kids coming at me screaming? I'll hit you with this! Get off my property!
Long story short, we didn't see any ghosts that night. We did, however, piss off an old man whose property we were on.
Scene 5. Bluebell.
What you doing?
I'm typing on my laptop.
What you typing?
I'm typing a play.
What's a play?
Play is like a movie, except you see the actors live. They're on a stage.
You're writing a movie. Are you famous?
No, not at all. I just write for fun.
Can I help?
Well, if you want to, you can tell me a story for my play. I need to know inspiration first.
I'm sorry, is he bothering you?
Not at all. He wants to tell me a story, and I was wondering if that was okay.
You want my 7-year-old to tell you a story? You got 3 hours because that's what you're about to get.
I don't mind at all.
All right. I'll be right over there if you need me.
So what story do you want to tell? All ears.
This is my blanket.
Pleasure to meet you, Blanket.
His name's Bluebell.
Bluebell, the pink blanket. A perfect name.
Would you like to hold my blanket?
You are going to let me hold your blanket?
Only for a second. He's my favoriteest thing in the whole wide world.
This is a very nice blanket.
Okay, you can give it back now.
So what story do you want to tell me?
How about the time Bluebell and I fought Teddy Bear, the big giant monster?
I'm sorry, did you say that a little slower?
How?
A little faster.
The time Bluebell and I fought Teddy Bear, the big giant monster.
Teddy Bear the Big Giant Monster does sound scary.
You have no idea!
Well, can you describe Teddy Bear the Big Giant Monster?
He's brown, and he has white paws, and black eyes and a red nose, and he lives at the end of my back.
Sounds terrifying.
He's the scariest toy I have.
Well, how did you come across Teddy Bear the Big Giant Monster?
My grandma gave him to me.
Not Grandma!
Y'all, he wasn't scary at first, but later I knew he was.
Well, how did you find out?
He ate my Spider-Man.
I'm sorry?
My Spider-Man toy, he ate it.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
My mom said the dog chewed on it and she had to throw it away, but I don't think our dog would do that.
So, how did you and Bluebell defeat Teddy Bear the Big Giant Monster?
Well, hey, are you starting the story with Once Upon a Time?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Every story has to start with Once Upon a Time. It's the rules.
My apologies. Tell you what, how about you start the story with Once Upon a Time and I'll follow along.
Once upon a time, there was this really scary monster that lived in my room. His name was Teddy Bear.
Everything's going according to plan. As soon as the little kid leaves the room, I shall eat another one of his little precious action figures. The Spider-Man was delicious.
You will not get any more of my toys!
Little kid! How do you know that it's me? My disguise of being cute and adorable is supposed to fool you. This is not part of the plan.
I'm too smart for that. Now your evil is at an end, Teddy Bear, the big giant monster.
Oh no! That is where you're wrong. My evil reign has just begun. As soon as we eat all the toys, I shall move on to other household items. No one will suspect a cute little teddy bear. They'll all just blame it on the dog. No one will believe you either because you're just a little kid.
I won't let that happen.
I think I'll start with your little precious pink blanket.
Oh yeah? Well, Bluebell and I have a surprise for you. Now, Bluebell.
What kind of magic is this? I can't see! This blanket has put some sort of spell over me! I'm blind! Aha! Time out!
Sorry, do you need a minute?
I need to catch my breath! I can't breathe under this blanket!
It's okay, you can have a minute. I'm in?
Time in!
What's going on in here?
Mom, do not look at the horror, I'll save you!
What are you doing to your grandmother's bear? She spent a lot of money on that for you.
Oh, Mom, it's evil!
He is not evil. Now you are an eye out.
Mom, he's evil,
tell you about making up stories? I am going to lock Teddy Bear up until I feel more.
Okay, Mom.
Wait! Don't lock me up! No! My evil plan is ruined!
To this day, Teddy Bear is still locked up. My mom doesn't think I can play with him yet, but on the day she does, Bluebell here and I will be ready for him.
Scene 6. The reaction I didn't expect. So what story would you like to tell me?
Actually, I was hoping to tell you the story about me coming out, if that's okay.
If you're comfortable with it, go for it.
Well, let me start by saying that my boyfriend and I have been dating since pretty much the end of 8th grade.
Wow, how old are you now?
27? Well, that means we've been dating for pretty much 14 years now.
That's amazing. Congratulations to you both.
Thanks. We got together pretty normally. By the time we were both 13, we had both realized we liked boys. We started walking to school together every day. I mean, he lived about a street over from me. A few weeks after that, we began flirting with one another, and a week after that, we were holding hands all the way to about a street over from school. You see, my boyfriend was out. He came out to it, his family, his friends, his classmates. He actually made an announcement about a year ago in front of the entire student body. 12 years old, he was fearless.
But you hadn't come out yet.
Nope! I was terrified. Especially since the kids at school bullied my boyfriend every day. On top of that, my family was extremely conservative. I knew there was no way they were going to accept a gay son. I knew this for sure. But every time I would apologize for keeping him a secret, every time that I felt bad for having to break hands right before we got to school, he would say the same thing.
It's okay. I'm not going to push you into something you don't want to do. When you're ready, we'll hold hands all the way to school.
He sounds wonderful.
He is. He put up with me not wanting to come out for a long time.
So, when did you actually come out? Unless you haven't.
Oh, no. You are not the first person I've come out to, trust me. Actually, I came out when I was 16. That's actually where my story begins. You remember I said my family was extremely conservative, right?
Yes, you did.
Well, I was not looking forward to coming out to them. But I was getting very irritated that I couldn't be open with them, especially with my dad. You see, my dad and I had the closest relationship, and I just felt like I was lying to him. I mean, every time my boyfriend would be over, he just thought we were really close friends. But for 3 years, we had to keep our relationship a secret. For 3 years, we had to hug and kiss in corners and always on edge. For 3 years, I couldn't hold his hand all the way to school. That's around the time when we got caught by my sister.
Oh, shit! Sorry, I'll just go.
No, wait, sis, please stop! I didn't talk with you!
Okay. What's up?
What did you see?
I saw you two holding hands and you kissed him on the cheek.
Please, don't tell Dad.
I'm not going to tell Dad.
What?
I'm not going to tell Dad. It's not my secret. I have no right to tell him. I'm also not going to break your trust by telling him.
You're okay with this?
Does he make you happy?
Yes, very much so.
Does he make you happy? Because if he doesn't, I can kick his ass. Also, I'm available. What? I've always thought he was cute.
Yes, he makes me very happy.
I I do think that you should tell Dad, though. At some point he's gonna find out. Okay, I'll keep your secret.
I am so sorry for acting so scared.
It's okay. I'm not going to push you to do something you don't want to do. When you're ready, we'll hold hands all the way to school.
After that, I knew I was ready. I mean, my sister knew it. She didn't hate me. That was not the reaction I expected. I knew after that it was time. Time to come out to my father. We had all just gotten done eating dinner. My dad was in the kitchen doing dishes. I remember being so scared. Dad?
Yeah?
Dad, can I talk to you for a minute?
Sure, son. What's up?
There's something I need to talk to you about, and it's really hard, and I just need you to listen.
Son, is everything alright?
Everything's fine. It's just, I feel like there's something that's true about me, and it has been for some time. I just feel like I'm lying to you, and I
Son,
can't.
what's wrong?
I don't know how to say this, so I'm just gonna say it. Dad? I'm gay. I've known since I was 13. I'm so sorry for lying to you, and I really just want you to understand.
I know you are, son.
I know this might be a lot to take in right now. Wait, what?
I said I know you are, son. I've known for about a year.
Oh, do you? No.
You're not as good at hiding things as you think you are, son. About a year ago, I was on my way to a meeting for work. Halfway through my drive, I realized I'd forgotten my cell phone. I came all the way back home, and when I came in, I called for you, but I didn't hear anything. I went to the kitchen because my phone was plugged into the wall, and I happened to glance out the window. You were there. You were there with your friend, holding hands, flirting, and I saw you kiss him.
Why didn't you say anything?
Son, let me continue.
Sorry.
Like I said, I saw you kissing him. I will admit, I was shocked. I didn't go to work for the rest of the day. I kicked my car a few times. I cursed. I cried. I didn't know what to do, and I wasn't ready to address you on this situation yet. So I went to your grandmother's house. I told your grandmother the whole thing.
Wait! Grandma knows?
Son,
Sorry, continue.
your grandmother told me that you can't make your kids into who you want them to be. You have your hopes, your dreams, your ideals for them, but 90% of the time, they don't follow your path. You have to choose whether you're going to love them for who they are, or love the ghost of who you think they should be. Son, I want to love you for who you are. I know you. And I know when you want something, you get it. I also knew you weren't ready to come out to me on the situation yet, so I called your boyfriend.
I'm sorry!
He came over one day when you were home, and we talked for a while. I completely approve of him, and he has your best interests in mind. We talked, and we both decided that we weren't going to force you into anything. When you were ready, you would tell me. So we waited until today, apparently, for you to tell me what you wanted. And all I can say is that I love you, and I support you in whatever you do.
I cried right then and there. My dad gave me a hug, and then he cried. But later we called my grandma, she came over, and then she cried. It was a huge cry fest of joy. But there was still one more thing I had to do. One more obstacle standing in my way. The next day was Monday, and like every day, my boyfriend and I were walking to school together, holding hands. We got to about a street away when he tried breaking hands with me. I held on tightly. I think I hurt his hand. I was so nervous. After that day till pretty much today, now that I'm in graduate school, we hold hands always. So.
Scene 7, the storyteller.
I love to write. I want to be an author someday when I'm done with school. My friends call me the storyteller because I'm the one who's always telling them around a campfire, in a dorm room, at the dinner table. I have a million stories. I'm going to tell you the story about how I met my real father. The first things first, I have always known that the man my mother married was not my father biologically, but he was always there for me the way a father should be. I even call him Dad. He supported me in everything I do and has never let me down. I will always be a daughter to him. My mother died when I was 17 years old. She was killed by a drunk driver in a cold, icy night. I took it really hard. So hard, in fact, that I neither slept or ate for days.
Honey,
Yeah?
I have something for you. It's something your mother wanted to give you someday. I think you should have it now.
Dad? I don't want to talk right now.
No, honey. I'm not here to talk about how you're feeling. I can't imagine what you're going through. I'm worried about you, that's the truth. But I'm not going to force you to talk either. Listen, I know you love writing, and you may not know this, but your mother did too. Like I said, this she wanted to give you when you were older. I think you should have it now.
What is it?
It's your mother's diary from the year she met your father. Your real father, I mean.
You're my real father.
I know that. It's just she never got to tell you this whole story. She wanted to wait until you were older, in case...
In case what?
In case you wanted to go find him. Listen, your mother left this for you and I think you should read it. And if you do want to meet your real dad, I'll help you find him.
So the book sat there for about a day. I stared at it for a while and then my curiosity got the best of me. I decided to open it. Here's what was tucked inside.
You brought the letter with you.
Actually, I never go anywhere without it. My mom was never that great about talking about her past. In fact, she never spoke of it. She did like to write, though. I think it was her grand plan to come rushing into my room when she thought I was old enough, drop on the bed, nod to me, and then run out. This letter was her explanation. It's kind of my thing to know that my mom is always with me.
My darling girl, I want you to know that I love you very much. I leave this book with you in the hopes that it will give you some clarity in regards to your father. If you ever want to meet him, I will understand. This is my story, and I feel that you need to know it to understand your own history. Your dad thinks I should have told you this story sooner. But to be honest, I'm afraid of what you might think of me. Please, don't judge me too harshly, and understand that this is a time in my life that I would rather forget. I love you very much. And when you are ready to discuss this book, I will be waiting. Upon.
So I opened the book and began to read. My mom was not that old when she met my real father. She was 17 years old. Same age as I was at the time. From the moment I opened the book until the very last page, it was obvious she did not get along with my grandmother. A trait the two had for as long as I could remember. In her sophomore year of high school, my mother began to act out. She would sneak out of the house late at night. She would do drugs. She would get drunk. And she would flirt with any guy that looked her way. She hung out with a lot of jerks. This is what my mother was afraid of. This is what she didn't want me to find out about her. You see, my mother was my role model. I looked up to her for everything. Now she was scared that I would judge her for what she did during her teenage years. Now here's the twist.
I'm sorry.
Twist in my story. Every good story needs a twist, and mine is a good one. See, my mother was embarrassed about her life, not my father's. My father was not a druggie or a jerk. My dad was the boy next door. Seriously, he lived right down the street. My dad was a boy who grew up with my mom, a boy who had been friends with her for years, a boy who loved my mother more than anything in the world.
Really?
Yep. And one night she wrote that she was very drunk and she went over to his house to try to seduce him just because she could. And he rejected her. When she confronted him, he simply said,
I have loved you since we were born. I will always love you. This is not the way we're supposed to happen.
My mother was stunned. She wrote that she fell for him right then and there. She painted this beautiful picture of a love she had in front of her the entire time. And then one night it happened. My mother wrote that she had never had a moment like that in her entire life. She never felt anything like that.
Wow. So wait, what happened?
You never rush a storyteller. My mother panicked. She awoke the next day and decided that she didn't want a commitment so big. The feelings she had terrified her. She wrote to me that she wasn't proud of her actions, but the next day she left town. She hopped on a bus and never looked back. She said that she probably would have been running forever, except a couple months later she found out she was pregnant. She got a job, worked very hard, and eventually called my father and told him. She didn't want him involved in our lives. This wasn't because she had any ill will toward him. She just wanted to do this on her own. She said that he agreed to keep his distance, that he would send money for me every month, and that if I ever wanted to, I would know where to find him. He would have done anything for my mother, including staying away from his daughter. And a year after I was born, my mom met my dad and she settled down with him. This is not where my story ends. The story's not about my mother. It is about me meeting my real father. So there I was, reading a diary that had been written so long ago. In the last entry of her book, there was an address and a phone number. I decided to call it.
Hello? Hello?
Needless to say, it took me a couple times.
Hello? Hello? Who keeps calling here? Hello?
Hi.
Ah, so there is somebody on the other end of this line. How can I help? I'm sorry, you're gonna have to speak up. I couldn't hear you.
I think I'm your daughter. Hello?
I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. How did you get my address? How did you find me? Did your mother give you my address? How are you? How is she?
I then realized that this man who was so in love with my mother, didn't realize she had passed away. Maybe we should meet. So my dad, my real dad that is, decided to drive through 3 states to meet me. We decided to meet at a coffee shop maybe a minute away from my house. I sat outside in the car with my dad as we eyeballed every guy that went to the door, trying to figure out who he was. Oh, wow, that one!
Nope, that's not him.
How do you know?
Your mother showed me a picture of him. I know what he looks like.
Was it weird for you that she talked about her?
To be honest, no. I wanted to know about you, which meant I needed to know about your father. I have come to this conclusion, though. Your mother did love your father, but she wasn't ready for anything like that yet. It wasn't until she had already built a life with you that she was ready to love anyone yet. Her first true love was no man. It was you. You, my darling girl, were always my competition. And I always lost.
My dad always knew I spit something to make me laugh. He spoke of my mother like she was an angel, making even her faults the most beautiful thing in the world.
That's him.
Him?
Yup.
He looks nothing like me.
That's because you look just like your mother. Listen, if you need anything at all,
You'll be right out here. If things get scary, I will call you.
and if you can't do that,
I will jump around like a crazy person and scream and yell until you see that everyone is looking at me being obnoxious.
that's my girl.
So now is the moment of truth. The moment I got to meet my real father and tell him the love of his life was dead. I walked slowly into the coffee shop that day. It didn't matter what I did, though. The minute I walked in, he knew me. As my dad said, I looked just like my mom.
Yeah, please, have a seat.
Thank you.
So, tell me about yourself.
I'm 17. I get really good grades. I love to write.
Well, I see the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Your mother loves to write. I'm sorry we never met like this before. It's just, your mother had a lot going on in her life, and then she got married.
Yeah.
Is that him in the car?
Yeah. That's my dad. I mean, you're my dad too, but he's my dad!
No. Don't worry. I get it. You look so much like your mother.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
How is she?
This was the moment. The knot tied so tight in my stomach I wanted to run away and throw up. This was the moment I had been dreading since I got into the car. There's something you should know.
We should be talking about you. I'm sorry. It's just, I thought with you coming here, your mother would be here to bring you in, and I'm sorry, please.
No! No, it's not that. There's something you should know about my mother. I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. I didn't want to think about my mom dying. I didn't want to tell a total stranger that she was dead. I wanted to run out of there and jump into my dad's car as fast as possible. But the stranger saw me crying.
Hey. Don't wait for this minute, because the next one brings a whole new 60 seconds of possibilities.
What did you just say?
It's something my grandmother used to tell me. Don't wait for this minute, because
the next one brings a whole new 60 seconds of possibilities. My mom used to say that all the time.
well, I imagine she would. I mean, we grew up together, and boy, was she a crier. I mean, wait. What do you mean, used to say? Does she not say it anymore?
My mother died 2 months ago. You could see his whole world crumbling. Like a light had gone out and he was blindly moving through existence. Now I knew he had to be my father because that was the way I was feeling. She was coming home from work. This drunk driver was speeding. She had the green light and he had a red one. By the time he saw the light and Does anyone know the brakes? Is sliding? He slammed into her side as she was going through the intersection. I didn't know what to do or say. Here was this complete stranger weeping over a woman he hadn't seen in 17 years. I did the only thing I could do. I held his hand. After a while, my father calmed down and we began to talk about me. He learned how I grew up, what I liked and disliked, my favorite everything. And I found out about him. He even came out and met my dad. At the end of the day, we agreed to stay in touch with phone, email, and visits. But I had one last gift to give him. Here.
Are you sure?
Yeah, this belongs to you.
This book is filled with words and feelings about you. This is your story you have with my mother. I think she always wanted to let you know that she did love you. And this is her way of telling you. This is for me. This I will keep. The rest of the story goes to you. My mother was a storyteller. And this is the story she never got to tell you. I now have a daughter of my own. She knows both of her grandfathers very well. They both write, visit, send birthday cards. And they both tell stories of her wonderful grandmother. The storyteller who passed that trait on to her daughter. I couldn't be more happy with everyone in my family.
Now is the time you would think I would insert my own story. Instead, I will leave you with this quote from one of my favorite storytellers. Write it, shoot it, publish it, crochet it, saute it, whatever. Make Joss Whedon.